I'm going to give you a review of 3 blenders from high quality brands that I've used over the years, and I'm going to give you an idea of how they hold up after some years of use. So this is the Barboss Advanced Vitamix. This is what it's looking like after 10 years of use. Also got this brand spanking new Vitamix that's on the cheaper side, but as you can see, it has its 3 prongs. My old model broke one of the prongs. It still works, it still turns on, but that's not how it was made. And as you can see in the jugs, the nut on the blade snapped on both of those jugs at the same time. So that's giving you an idea of how long those last. For the most part, the motors look fine from the outside. I don't see much evidence of aging there. There are some obvious signs of use with my Vitamix Advance, as I've been using it for 10 years, but it's really impressive that it lasted that long. And that's probably why the newer models still have the same designs, same material for the most part. But the blades on this new machine are different. They have 4 spikes instead of 2. And from my experience, I do think the Vitamix Advance is a better design, even though there are some obvious signs of use. The jug itself, it's made out of plastic, and you can see it is so dirty now. Those are stain marks and cracks, and the lid doesn't hold up after a few years. The Vitamix Advance cost around $500 to $800, and the jugs did come at a separate price of like $200 each, not including shipping. But this newer model went for around $300. I'll get more in depth about the blending quality further along in this video. Before the Vitamix, my family had the Magic Bullet, straight off the box TV infomercials. And then we got the Nutribullet, and honestly, I think they were terribly flawed designs. I think just having that blender jug upside down is asking for trouble. I mean, I used to spend so much time just trying to close the jug properly and align it with the motor. There were so many times when it leaked or opened altogether, and it just wasn't great. And at some point, the Magic Bullet started oozing this black grease out of the locking mechanism and out of the bottom of the motor. It was just so weird. So we upgraded to the Nutribullet, and although it didn't ooze the black goop, we still had issues closing the jug. The jugs kept breaking, the blades kept breaking. I remember it falling into my smoothie, and that just set the tone for upside down blenders for me. Now I'm at this point where it would take a lot of convincing for me to try another upside down blender from any brand. Next, we're going to look at my newest blender, which is the Ninja Foodie blender and soup maker. This one cost me about 130 pounds, which is around $150. This blender has been working like a charm. It's brand new, of course, and I think that's a good price point for this blender. It's very high quality. My only problem is the jug is really heavy, and when it comes to a machine like this with all of these digital buttons, I feel like that's not gonna last very long, but we'll see. I've been using it for a year, and I haven't noticed any signs of it having problems or glitching, none of that. I also wonder about this lid, which snaps in place to indicate that it's locked. I feel like that might be where this blender stops working, but again, that's just my assumption. As far as I know, I've been using it for 1 year and it's working just fine. But this jug is really heavy because it's made out of glass instead of plastic. I will say that the plastic jugs do get pretty stained, as you can see from my 10-year-old Vitamix. But with the glass jug, we're going to see how that holds up. Hopefully it doesn't chip or shatter, but I don't think that's going to happen because this is a very thick, durable glass material. But again, you don't know until you know, so we'll see. Now I'm going to show you how well these blenders work by making a green juice. I usually put the softest vegetable at the bottom and the harder to blend ingredients at the top. My Ninja blender handles it just fine without the tamper. The tamper is really just there as an assistant. It's not a crutch. This blender is just really good at doing its job. As you can see here, I have the cucumbers at the bottom again, and this blender does it all without a tamper. In fact, this blender is able to handle anything I make without a tamper because I didn't have one. It didn't come in the box. But it hasn't been a problem because, as you can see, it sucks everything down into the blades and shreds everything up perfectly without assistance. So you definitely see that this is a higher quality blender. And you can see that when you're blending vegetables or making thick smoothies. Now, the $200 Vitamix does struggle. It has a few kinks, in fact. When you turn it on, it slides a bit, it turns a bit to the side, and it doesn't blend as easily as the other models. As you can see, this blender relies heavily on the tamper. I haven't been able to blend anything properly without it, so that definitely demonstrates the strength of the blender and its blades. But it is the cheaper model and it does get the job done, so at the end of the day, it is a good blender. It does what it needs to do. It just isn't as strong as the other blenders. So I'll leave it for you all to decide which blender is best for you, and I hope this video was able to help you identify what you're looking for in your blender. In a few years, I'll give another review and we'll see which blender I move on to next.